Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. We have a critically injured passenger who needs urgent transport to urgency for emergency treatment.
1, 2, 3, go. This is the boy's arm.
Do you remember this movie? A life and death relay, race against time. A 7-year-old boy's arm was severed. The golden hour for treatment was only 8 hours. 400 kilometers from Hotan to Urumqi, across the Tianshan Mountains. Doctors, police, airport staff and flight crews coordinated across land and air, clearing every path for his life. A group of ordinary strangers came together for an unknown child, giving their all in a frantic race against the clock. With love and perseverance, they created a seemingly impossible miracle. This isn't just a fictional movie scene. It's based on the true story of a boy with a severed arm in Hotan, Xinjiang. The movie Ordinary Hero depicts a heart-wrenching relay that moved millions to tears. The story begins in a small village in Hotan, Xinjiang. A boy named Murden was playing with a bamboo dragonfly when it accidentally flew under a tractor, unaware of the danger. Murden reached out to grab it. With a piercing scream, his right arm was ruthlessly severed by the drive shaft. Paralyzed by shock, his mother collapsed as her mind went blank before frantically scrambling to her son's side. Seeing the severed arm on the ground, his brother's stomach churned with horror. The entire family was in shock, frozen in despair, and at a total loss. Fortunately, a bystander shouted to stop the bleeding, snapping the brother back to reality. He quickly grabbed a cotton rope and tied it tightly around the wound. As Murden cried out in agony, his mother's heart broke even more. Nearby, the fingers of the severed arm were still twitching. They had to rush to the hospital for surgery to reattach the arm. With no time to lose, the brother raced toward the hospital in a villager's car. The mother held her blood-soaked son, her heart filled with agony. Tears streamed down the brother's face, but this was no time for grief. Reattaching his brother's arm was the only thing that mattered. To make matters worse, the streets were teeming with people. The traffic was at a complete standstill, making it impossible to pass.
This is a pedestrian street. Why are you honking?
Get out of the way!
Move aside, will you?
Amidst the shouting, an older man caught sight of little Marden in pain and the severed arm in the passenger seat. His expression turned grim. He quickly grabbed a loudspeaker and began to shout.
Out of the way! Out of the way! Everyone move your things. There we go. That's it.
Realizing the emergency, vendors scrambled to move their stalls. The once impassable street, through everyone's collective effort, was transformed into a life channel. In an instant, car slowly threaded its way through the crowd. The brother kept shouting his thanks to the people on both sides. It was then that I truly understood the most profound love isn't found in earth-shattering epics, but in the simple, everyday acts of ordinary people. Just as they cleared the crowd, they hit a red light with a long countdown, but time was running out for the boy's arm. Gritting his teeth, the brother sped through the red light, only to be pulled over by traffic police. He rolled down the window to explain seeing the child covered in blood. The policewoman, with tears in her eyes, immediately radioed the command center, requesting a green channel and an ambulance dispatch. She personally cleared the way ahead, with lights flashing and sirens wailing. With the green channel opened by the command center, the brother was escorted by traffic police the entire way through clear roads and soon met up with the ambulance dispatched from the hospital. A journey that would normally take 40 minutes took only 6 minutes in this race against time. With that, the policewoman had successfully fulfilled her mission. To me, she is the most beautiful hero in harm's way in this city. At 9:58 p.m., the mother and her 2 sons finally arrived at the People's Hospital.
Doctor, please save my brother.
Please save my son.
2.5 hours had passed since the accident. At this moment, Mardan's condition was critical, and his life was hanging by a thread. The doctors worked tirelessly on debridement, bandaging and hemostasis. The mother collapsed by the door of the emergency room. Her heart-wrenching cries echoed throughout the entire hospital. However, even more devastating than the mother's cries was the fact that the local hospital had limited facilities and could not perform such a complex limb replantation surgery. Feeling helpless, the doctor offered two difficult choices.
The first is to save his life. Simply suture the wound. The second is the limb replantation. It's extremely difficult and highly risky. What about the success rate? If it's done in Urumqi, there will be a much better chance.
The doctor's words caused the mother to faint instantly. Everyone rushed to put her on a gurney for treatment, and so this difficult and cruel decision fell upon the shoulders of the 21-year-old brother. Looking at his brother on the operating table, the older brother was at a complete loss, not knowing what to choose.
You tell me, save his life or save his arm?
I don't know.
We're running out of time. You must decide now.
Urged by the doctor, the older brother made a resolute decision. He would take his brother to Urumqi, determined to take this gamble, no matter what. After all, the boy was so young, he couldn't live without his right hand. The decision was made, but new challenges followed immediately. The golden hour for limb replantation is only 8 hours. Once that window closes, tissue necrosis will set in, leaving the boy permanently disabled. 3 hours have already passed. This means they must reach Urumqi, over 1,000 kilometers away, within the next 5 hours. As they rushed out, the doctor gave repeated instructions. Remember, you must reach the hospital in Urumqi by 3:00 am at the latest station. It was an almost impossible task, but even with their fate hanging in the balance, the older brother was determined to do whatever it took to save him. From the moment they boarded the ambulance, every second counted. A real-life race against time across China had begun.
I will save my brother's arm no matter what. I won't let him down.
At 11:20 p.m., the ambulance sped toward Hotan Airport at top speed. But by the time they arrived, the last flight to Urumqi was already full and taxiing slowly toward the runway. Covered in sweat and tears, the older brother pleaded with airport staff to let them board the plane. This was the only chance to save his brother's arm. Seeing this, the staff immediately radioed their supervisor to explain the situation.
A human life is at stake. How can we not wait?
Life comes first, regardless of the regulations. Call back the taxiing plane. Saving a life is the priority. Through coordinated efforts, the brothers were finally granted permission to board. The team rushed the patient toward the boarding gate, while the airport's electronic clock stood witness to this deeply moving moment. But with the plane fully booked, 3 passengers must volunteer their seats before the brothers can board, and the Chief Purser, Zhou Yan, made several patient appeals over the PI system, hoping someone would volunteer their seat. Meanwhile, the group was racing toward the boarding gates. A group of ordinary heroes cleared a path for Xiaomai's survival. What they are carrying is more than just a stretcher. It is the entire hope for a young life's future. Upon reaching the gate, the staff came to a halt, as no one had yet stepped forward to give up their seats. Zhou Yan's voice grew hoarse, yet there was still no response. Staring down the long jet bridge, the brothers' eyes filled with helplessness and despair, prayed for a helping hand to let them board the plane first. For Xiaomai, every second of waiting meant his life was relentlessly ticking away. Just as hope seemed to fade, a breakthrough finally came. Purple and their child selflessly stepped off the plane, volunteering their seats for the boy. In that moment, their gesture was truly noble. A wave of warmth surged through the onlookers as tears welled up in their eyes. Solidarity and unity are beliefs deeply ingrained in the Chinese spirit. Life always comes first. We must salute this family, thanking them for the compassion that cleared a path for Xiaomai Li. Finally, the brother and Xiaomai were able to board the flight.
I'm leaving these 2 brothers in your care. Don't worry. The doctor repeatedly stressed that during the flight, the child must stay awake, understood, and you must keep him from crying. Otherwise, the bandaged wound may start bleeding again. Although the severed limb must not be refrigerated, It must be kept cold using only ice.
The severed arm.
This is the boy's severed arm.
Hearing this, as the mother of a 7-year-old, herself eyes welled up with tears instantly. But now was no time for grief. She immediately told the flight attendant to bring all the ice from the rear cabin. The heavy responsibility of caring for Maiden now rested on her shoulders.
The blood vessels in the severed arm must be reconnected before 3:30 a.m.
Understood.
To maximize the chances of a successful surgery, Zhou Yan immediately called to relay this critical information to the captain.
Roger that, tower. Ensure the tow truck is in position immediately.
At 12:09 a.m., the plane carrying Hope finally took to the skies, climbing to 10,000 meters.
I've worked at this airport for so many years. I've never seen anything like this. A plane that had already started taxiing, returning just to pick up a passenger.
Human life is the top priority. Any established rule at a critical moment like this can be bent to make way for life. If it happens again, I do the exact same thing.
Once the flight stabilized, the captain immediately contacted Urumqi Airport, reporting the child with the severed arm and requesting urgency to meet the golden hour, requesting a direct flight path as a direct flight required, crossing restricted airspace. Urumqi Airport cooperated and contacted the Air Force Command immediately. Meanwhile, the Air Force was conducting fighter jet drills at high altitude. Upon learning of the emergency, the commander ordered the jets to return to base, clearing the airspace for the civilian airliner on its life-saving mission. Every minute saved was a step towards securing Maidan's future. But then another unexpected crisis arose. As the plane entered the stratosphere, the cabin pressure shifted. Zhao Mai's wound began to bleed, and the bleeding couldn't be stopped. His face grew paler. His brother rushed to his side, trying to comfort him through his own distress. Zhou Yan immediately paged for a doctor, but none of the passengers were medical professionals. In the heat of the moment, with no time to lose, she relied on her first aid training, calmly opened the emergency kit and re-bandaged Xiao Mai's wound. Her steady hands demonstrated both professionalism and a sense of duty.
I'm Auntie's sorry if that hurt you.
Once the wound was secured, Zhou Yan could no longer hold back her tears. She felt for him as if he were her own son. That heart-wrenching pain made it impossible for her to steady her emotions for a long time. But as one crisis passed, another arose. Zhao Mai suddenly felt chest tightness, his breathing became labored, and his condition deteriorated sharply. Just then, a young man named Liu Rui stepped forward. He was a doctor who had resigned after a failed surgery, living in the shadow of that failure ever since. But seeing Xiao Mai's agony, his calling as a healer was fully reawakened. To prove his identity, he presented his medical practitioner certificate on the spot. With no specialized equipment on board, he had to perform emergency treatment using basic supplies.
How much longer until we land?
About 15 minutes.
Scissors, iodine, and cotton swabs.
Syringes and normal saline, relying on his expertise. Liu Rui knelt before Xiao Mai and steadily performed a thoracentesis for decompression. As the fluid drained from his chest, Xiao Mai, breathing instantly eased. With that, another crisis was safely averted. His brother thanked him repeatedly, his heart filled with immense gratitude. In this high-altitude rescue, Liu Rui didn't just save a dying child and found the version of herself that was lost in failure. When Zhou Yan brought water to the captain, he took out his own wallet, netting 10 yuan as a personal contribution toward Maiden's treatment. Zhou Yan also gave the gift she had bought for her own son to the brother, asking him to give it to Maiden on her behalf. At 10 a.m. during a routine check, Zhou Yan found that Maiden had fallen asleep. The doctor had warned repeatedly that they must not let him fall asleep. He had to remain conscious at all times. If he drifted off, he might never wake up again. Everyone hurriedly called out to him, but Maiden remained unresponsive. Thinking quickly, Zhou Yan immediately put on some cartoons, turning the volume to the maximum, while gently wiping Maiden's face with an ice-cold towel. Brother gently nudged him. tears streaming down his face. The passengers also began calling out to Medan in their own way, led by a little girl. Everyone started singing together. No one could have imagined that in a cabin 10 meters in the air, a time meant for quiet rest would instead be filled with warmth and song, transcending ethnic lines and the barriers between strangers. Amidst the chorus of voices, Medan finally regained consciousness.
I miss you. Yes.
Mom is right here, my child. Go ahead, speak to him.
Oh, Mom, I miss you.
Mom is here.
I miss you.
In this bustling world, the most moving things are never just earth-shattering feats, but the hands of strangers extended without a moment's hesitation. From the accident in the fields to the 1,000-mile rescue from cleared streets to police escorts, from a flight turning back to fighter jets making way, countless ordinary people stepped up, paving a path to rebirth for Medan.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay strong. You can do it.
You know, there's hope for you. Yes, there's hope.
Stay strong. Stay strong. Keep fighting. Stay strong.
Hey.
Time is now 1:18. And then the plane arrives at Urumqi International Airport, 70 minutes ahead of schedule. Even more heartening is that airport officials had already coordinated everything. The nearest parking stand was cleared and an ambulance was waiting right at the cabin door. Every second was saved by eliminating shuttle time. At 1:36, the plane carrying the boy with the severed arm touches down safely. When one is in need, all come to help. They lived up to the mission and succeeded. But for the medical staff, the battle has just begun. They dare not relax for a second, racing desperately against death.
Thank you. Wishing you a successful surgery.
This is as far as I can take you. One last push. Stay strong.
At this moment, the brother has only one wish. The surgery must be a success. At 2:12 a.m., the ambulance arrives smoothly at the hospital. Everyone joins forces for the ultimate race against time. By now, over 7 hours have passed since the injury, leaving very little time for the surgery. Chief Surgeon Lin Li immediately begins surgical preparations, has performed 3 surgeries on hundreds of children in Xinjiang, knowing how vital an arm is to a child's entire life. This time, he will surely give it his all. But when he sees Xiao Mai's severed arm, his brow furrows deeply. The arm is not only severed, but also severely fractured. The surgery is far more difficult than expected, and every second counts too. There is no room for the slightest hesitation. This will be an unprecedented and grueling challenge. With the surgery being urgent, the chief surgeon gives the order and the entire team immediately enters combat mode. Everyone carries out their duties with speed and precision, racing against time to anastomose the blood vessels, suture the nerves and repair the muscles. Outside the doctor's words kept echoing in the brother's mind.
His arm must be saved. Blood flow must be restored before 3:30 a.m.
It's 3:09 a.m. now. Less than 31 minutes remain. Just as the brother was agonizing over the surgery's success, his mother, from thousands of miles away, called with a heart full of worry to ask about her youngest son.
Everything will be okay.
Don't worry. The doctor told me everything. I'm so sorry. I'm truly sorry. I shouldn't have blamed you. You are both so very important to me. Do you know that? I can't lose any of you, my son. Do you understand?
A parent's love knows no bounds. No matter where the child is, they are always a mother's deepest concern. At this moment, a rare and complex arm replantation surgery, unprecedented in Chinese medical history, is underway. The finest blood vessels are only 0.2 mm thinner than a strand of hair. Every detail requires absolute precision. It's now 3:17 a.m. with a deadline for cell necrosis looming. Only 13 minutes remain Will the surgery succeed? Everything depends on this, ultimately through the collective efforts of the medical team. All the severed blood vessels are precisely reconnected. Let us await the miracle.
Hasn't the arm turned pink yet? It might be a vascular spasm.
It's turning red. No. It's finally... It's finally turning red.
Yes, yes, yes.
As the blood vessels reconnected and the arm regained its color, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. At 3:30 a.m. on May 1st, Xiaomai was finally given a second chance at life. As dawn broke, Xiaomai slowly regained consciousness. He carefully touched his replanted arm with an innocent smile, happy to have the chance at a complete life once again. His mother also traveled thousands of miles to be by his side.
Mommy, mommy.
His delicate little hand reached out longingly to his mother. Having just survived a life-or-death ordeal, he needed a mother's love so much.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, son. Don't cry anymore. Mommy is here. Don't cry, Mommy. We'll never leave you.
Yeah, I'm sleepy.
This is a true story. This 400-kilometer relay for life not only saved a child, but also warmed the hearts of millions across China. May we all be treated with kindness by the world, and may we all become a light for others. After watching Ordinary Hero, what moved me most wasn't some earth-shattering feat, but rather the simple heartfelt truths it conveys. Real heroes are never far away. They aren't superhumans, they are just the ordinary people all around us. Doctors, drivers, flight attendants, passers-by. Police officers' life is always the most precious thing. To save one child, everyone dropped what they were doing and gave their all. It reminds us that no matter how busy or urgent life gets, nothing is more important than a life. There are no villains in this movie, only a group of people willing to help. It shows us that the most powerful force in the world is the warmth of the human heart. We don't have to be born great, but we can choose to be kind, brave and responsible. Anyone can be a ray of light in someone else's life. Which part of the story moved you the most?